You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We have our friend, not just political analyzer.
Yes.
She does a little bit of everything. Miss Angela Rye.
Good morning.
General Rye.
General Rye.
How are you?
Now, the first thing we have to talk about is black women.
Okay.
You're black.
You have any?
You're a woman.
I am.
Yes,
So
that
let's
is
start
true.
there.
Breaking.
You have experience in that department.
I think so.
Now, French Montana, they started dragging French Montana for some of the comments that he made. And now the lady said, some lady on Twitter said this to French Montana. The fact that French Montana thinks anyone cares about him, cryy face, right? Or emoji. He responded, "You musty, crusty, dusty, rusty asshole.
Yeah.
With them nappy ass poetic justice braids." That right there, black women are pissed off about it.
So first of all, somebody should tell French Montana that black women everywhere were running to get the poetic justice braids when that movie came out.
That is a fact.
Number one.
Do you have them? Did you have them?
I tried. So my hair slipped out of the braids, so they lasted like a week.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents weren't happy because that was a long braid job and it was expensive. However, he should probably watch it with the nappy hair
He
comments.
apologized. He said he wasn't directing it at every
All black women.
black woman.
Yeah.
It was just that one
But he
girl.
directed it at the poetic justice braids, though.
Which a lot of women have had throughout
Yeah.
time.
I mean, apparently somebody has throwback poetic justice braids right now, apparently.
I'm not mad at women teaming up on him as a collective. Like, I'm not mad at that. Like, if you see somebody come for your sister and they like, no, you're not coming for her, I don't have a problem with that.
But
I
she
wonder
did
why
come
he
for
was
him
so in
first,
his
though.
feelings.
But she came for him first. He shouldn't have been in his feelings, but she came for him, and he thought he was just clapping back. But
that was a hell of a clapback.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if it was not on par with what she said.
Yeah.
He could have just been like, "Who are you?" and left it at that, and that would have been funny. He didn't have to do the nappy hair thing.
Do you think black women are sensitive to things like that? I think they are, and I think rightfully so. After years of being insulted and, being the butt of jokes.
I think that it depends on the black woman. I don't think that everybody, has the same type of response to every single thing. I think that in instances like this where you're talking about hair, like hair is a sensitivity. Solange has a song about "Don't Touch My Hair" for a reason.
Yes.
We were talking, I think, last week, at the end of the week when Bill O'Reilly talked about Congresswoman Waters' hair.
Queen Maxine.
Yes, and so it's not just a literal "don't touch my hair," it's also figurative. Like, keep your hands off, keep your mouth off, keep your ideas off my hair.
Got you.
So I don't know if it's a sensitivity as much as it's like, this is the one space that I have that you can't mess with, and now you're in violation.
Because you got insulted when Deezus said you had a weave.
Yeah, no, he actually didn't say.
You got a weave?
I do not have a weave. He actually, you want to fill for tracks? You want to fill for tracks?
Oh, she ain't got no tracks.
Anyway, he definitely just pet me like a dog. But no, so he actually didn't say I had a weave. He said I had a perm, which is even more offensive, right?
Really?
Like, yeah,
Tell me why.
Because I think it really is creamy crack, and it causes
creamy crack.
It is. Sorry, I hope y'all don't have no perm advertisers because I'm about to take them down.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Pepsi has perm products.
Pepsi has perm products.
Oh my God. No, that's different kind of crack, and it's still the wrong one. Sorry, Ray Charles, you had it wrong. So no, the point is, when you think about all of the health implications of relaxers and what that does to the body, I started getting relaxers when I was young, and I got my last one when I was 19. And I'm old now. I'm 37. So it's been years. So I was like, a perm? No, it's
Now,
a
what
flat
is a
iron.
perm? Now, because I don't know what a perm is.
It's a chemical straightener. You know who else had a perm? They used
Terrence
to call
Howard.
it.
Terrence Howard had a perm.
I was going to throw back a little bit further than that. I don't know if he does or not. He might just have some slick down measures that work really well. But Malcolm X,
a conk.
conks. They called it a conk.
Conk. Okay.
So yeah, and no shade, Dad. I don't know if you're still doing it, but my dad definitely puts creamy crack
Really?
on his hair. Yeah.
After the afro?
Yes. I don't know. You should talk to him about it.
When the black girls go to the hair salon and go see the Dominicans, right, and they wrap, that's not a perm. When they wrap
That's
up.
not. It's just a blowout. So it's literally just
I
heat.
don't know.
It's okay. It's just heat applied to your hair to make it straight.
That's not a perm.
It's
okay.
not a perm. Perm is actual chemicals.
So the moral of the story is you can't call a woman nappy, and you shouldn't say she has a perm. You should just don't talk about black women's hair.
Don't
period.
talk about black
Yeah,
women's hair.
maybe.
Leave 'em alone.
Don't touch my hair.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Now, you mentioned Bill O'Reilly. Do you think he will be fired? He makes a lot of money for that network.
I know.
He's losing a
And
lot
you
of
know,
money.
the crazy thing about it is I feel like every time I'm across from you, you're asking me something where I'm like, I want to give you my wishful thought, but then I also want to give you the real thought. I think, to your point, he does make a ton of money for Fox. And I just can't see how they're going to separate themselves from him. I think now there are over 40 advertisers that have pulled out from advertising on his show. But here's the problem. They didn't pull their money from the network.
Just his show.
They pulled it from the show, so they transfer those resources to other shows.
So they really didn't
They're not
lose
losing
the
any money. So we have to understand when we're asking for things, right? Like Color of Change put out a great petition urging advertisers to pull out, but we need to be more clear in our ask. The ask is for them to stop advertising with Fox because they're the platform that's putting this sexual harasser on air. You know what I mean?
You put me on to something. So it's not like they're pulling their ads from Fox, just that show and moving it.
Yes, they're moving it to other shows.
They're not losing any money.
They're not losing any money. And so our folks have to be more sophisticated in our ask. That's not just on Color of Change, it's on all of us. We want you all to stop advertising with Fox because before Bill O'Reilly, it was Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes is gone, but they have a pattern and practice there. Like, what's her name that wrote the book? Megyn Kelly. She talked about her experience being sexually harassed there. So that is the way of the culture. Don't continue to support the culture of Fox by keeping your ad dollars there. Take your ad dollars and move them somewhere else.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely positively right. What do you think about Trump coming to the defense of Bill O'Reilly? And
he also came to the defense of Roger Ailes. And how about this? Somebody tweeted this morning, between Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump, there are 24 accusations of sexual harassment and assault. It sounds like that's not an ally that he needs, but Tweedledum was there for him anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't want somebody who's been accused of sexual assault to come to my defense about sexual assault.
Yeah, or grabbing people by the,
T.I. said this morning on Instagram. He said, typical, he's talking about Trump and O'Reilly. He said, this is why I say we must defend and protect our legends and heroes because they do even worse stuff but don't get condemned for it. Most times it doesn't even see the light of day, leaving us and our children looking at their heroes like they are so much better, more righteous than ours, when really they're just point shaving and moving the goal line. I have had this same sentiment before.
But what is that sentiment called? Like, I think we should define it for what it is. We know what that is. It's white privilege.
Okay.
I know it's not the antithesis of your concept, but it is something that is there. It's clear. The argument that I had on air just last week about the president with the standard was lower because he was black. No, it was not. It was higher.
Absolutely.
So we all know these things. We know that they get passes. Donald Trump got a pass throughout the entire election. He's getting passes right now.
Right.
Instead of us talking about what really may be happening with Russia, the fact that the chairman of the Intel Committee has to step aside from the Russian investigation because now he's compromised. We're talking about wigs and sexual harassment charges and Susan Rice and whether she did anything wrong, because he's got that type of privilege to change and shape the narrative. And we don't call him to the carpet on it.
I guess it's shaky ground for us, though, because it is so few of us in positions of power. So when one of us does get in some serious trouble, it's almost like, all right, he did that, but let's handle that amongst each other. Let's not tear him down and crucify him because then we don't have anybody. And I'm speaking about people like the Bill Cosbys of the world, or even when Nate Parker came with Birth of a Nation. I feel like the art they have presented is bigger than them as the man. The things they have done, you know,
have so few and far.
Yeah, the things they have done have helped us more than his allegations can hurt us, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's hard. That's a harder narrative. I remember when the Bill Cosby stuff first came out, I was like, oh, they're trying to set him up. They're just trying to take him down. But when I saw that list that was 60 plus, I was like, oh, Jesus, there's like no way around this. So I can't really defend Bill Cosby. Bless him for everything that he did to move the culture forward.
In the words of Dave Chappelle, he rapes, but he saves. And he's
not
he saved more
that's
people
horrible,
than he raped.
Charlamagne.
That's what Chappelle said.
It's terrible.
Chappelle said it.
That's terrible. But no, and then with the Nate Parker situation, you know, I think it's much different. I think that, you know, he did get off. They say it was because of a technicality in court during the actual case, but I just think it's different. I wouldn't even compare Nate Parker to Bill Cosby.
So there's no benefit to basically just, I guess, turning a blind eye to our people's
I don't think that turning a blind eye to anyone's problems is a good thing. I think if people do something wrong, you hold them accountable. We had this whole conversation on CNN about us being, like Kaylee brought up, we're a country that believes in redemption. I think redemption is one thing, but promotion is another thing. Like, we shouldn't promote people who are engaged in bad behavior. Bad behavior should be punished. And I think part of the issue is historically women haven't been able to have the same rights and protections as men, which is white male privilege thing. So
now, question. Now, you live in D.C., correct?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't remember if we talked about it, but it seems like it's just gone. What happened to the women in D.C. we were looking for and we were trying to get back? The missing girls. It just seems like that whole campaign is gone.
Yeah, you know what was fascinating about that is folks got hung up on one article that was put out that was not accurate. They said that I think it was over 40 girls had gone missing in 24 hours, and it turned out to be not true. Mm-hmm. Well, the fact remains that there were still several girls missing and young people missing throughout the month of February, and the numbers were high, but they weren't as high as they were like at the end of last year or something. So people found ways somehow to deconstruct what the story said, and so it didn't matter as much. Mm-hmm. And I think that's unfortunate. Like if the fact remains that there are kids missing, it doesn't matter if there are 6 now and there were 10 last year. There's still 6 kids missing.
Are they runaways? Or we heard they were runaways, or some of them were taken. Abducted?
Yeah, and so it depends on the situation. All storylines weren't exactly the same, but I think again the issue goes to, does it matter how they disappeared? It matters that they're minors and they're not with their families anymore. Right. So you're exactly right. Like the pressure should remain on the Washington, D.C. Police Department. It should remain on the feds to find these kids. And I think that it's the same thing again. When white kids go missing, there are Amber Alerts. Mm-hmm. There were some instances where there were no Amber Alerts for minors. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if that was your child? Yeah. And that's how we should be treating this.
We should ask for an Amber Rose Alert.
What?
Jesus.
For women of color.
Shut up,
I'm
man.
serious.
What's wrong with you?
He must have been on his phone.
No.
Because that doesn't even make sense.
No. I'm serious. We need something for us.
No.
But why would it be an Amber Rose Alert? Don't say nothing else.
You might as well get out.
Did you see him look like, huh?
This guy's stupid.
You gave me that look like.
Don't say nothing else. That was terrible.
Now, before we get into things we need to know.
Yeah.
About, it was last week? Yeah, last week. It was you and Maxine Waters dominated the headlines because
April Ryan too.
April Ryan.
Yeah.
But everybody loved the way you and Queen Maxine clapped back at Bill O'Reilly and Joe Walsh. People don't know that you're actually Maxine.
Playboy.
Maxine was your mentor.
Playboy. I love that.
That's better than cussing, Envy.
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing people talk about you and Maxine together. I'm like, I wanted they to know Angela came up under Miss Maxine Waters.
Yeah. So that was my first political internship. I interned in her district office. She would never let me forget it, and it's an experience that I wouldn't want to forget anyway. But she is a beast. Like I've watched her in marches like down the street in Manolos. Like she is so serious. Like and not that that's the thing that makes it credible, but I'm just saying she's not afraid of anyone. Never seen her back down from any type of fight. Is not afraid to take on anyone who's doing wrong. And that was the craziest thing about last week. We focused so much on what Bill O'Reilly was saying about her hair.
Absolutely.
That we lost sight of the fact that she was on the House floor talking about what real patriotism looks like. Real patriotism asks the tough questions. Real patriotism tries
holding
to figure out the
president accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to really have to do that. So yeah, absolutely. She's someone who I still look up to, who I still aspire to be like, and just phenomenal, like across the board.
How many years did you work for?
It was just a semester.
A semester,
yeah.
Okay.
And then for the CBC, so with the Congressional Black Caucus, I worked for all of the members, but I regularly went to her for advice. Like, are we doing this right? She was the person that led our jobs initiative. Like, she's awesome.
Gotcha.
Now, Charlamagne, when you walked in, you told him that ISIS released a statement. And he said, I'm going to reply to them on Twitter.
He said he was going to retweet it.
He said he was going to retweet it.
I thought you said they tweeted it out there. You know I'm stupid.
No, I just know you don't listen.
Now,
He's like, well, where is it? I'm going to retweet it.
What did ISIS say?
So ISIS put out a statement calling the president an idiot.
That's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, you never want to agree with ISIS, however. And then they also said that we need to get ready for a bloodbath, which is damaging. And I think at this point, we need to begin to understand the ramifications of your words, right? The president has consistently, gone after people, has demonstrated a lack of knowledge on Iraq and Syria and all of these spaces. And that's their whole point. Like, he doesn't even understand this. He doesn't even understand Islam. I remember during the campaign, Hillary Clinton saying that they were going to use him as a recruiting tool. And it looks like today that's one of the things that they're doing, right? There are folks who are, of Islamic faith, and they're offended now by Donald Trump. And then what happens with your anger if you don't direct it in the right way? Well, maybe it is a recruiting tool. And so I think that at this point now, somebody has to get to him and say, hey, it's time for you to be accountable for your words. You just can't, post something that you saw from Newsbusters or whatever.
I think it might be too late. I mean, listen,
it is late.
I just want ISIS to do its due diligence and understand that there's nuance to this thing. There's a lot of us who think that Donald Trump are idiots too. So you ain't got to kill all of us.
But they don't care about your feelings. No, it's ISIS still. Like,
Jesus
we
Christ.
shouldn't be, we're not ISIS sympathizers in case, the feds are listening, but we are just saying that he has become dangerous and making us more of a target than we already were, right? We already were. And so nobody wants to condone or support anything that ISIS is doing, but the reality of it is Donald Trump is putting us in harm's way.
Now, do you feel like doing some Q&A?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Well, we got some callers on the line.
Hello.
What it do?
What's up, man? We have Angela Rye here. If you wanna talk to her, ask her a question, not holler.
Yeah,
be
you was about to say holler. I was like, wait a minute.
Not holler.
Be respectful to my sister, okay?
Oh, no, for sure. You already know
Charlemagne
it.
the bouncer.
Yes.
All right. What's your question, bro?
Quick question. Do you just think all corporate white people are the devil? Is that like the man that everyone talks about? Oh, don't sell your soul to the man.
Okay.
All right. No, I don't
Thanks for calling.
I don't think that all corporate white people are the devil at all. I don't think that all corporate folks, period, are the devil. I think that it's very, very important for well-minded, good-hearted people to go into every system that exists, whether it's a capitalistic system and you go into corporate America or you go to work in the federal government, on the Hill, in the executive branch, clerking for a judge. I think it's very important that we are a part of all of those systems so we can help reshape them. But no, I don't think that all corporate white people are the devil.
Angela Rye said, hello, who's this?
Hey, my name's Darian.
Hey, Darren, what's your question for Angela Rye?
Hey, Angela, I watched you on CNN a few times. Follow you on Twitter.
Thanks.
I think you're a great mind. Well, my question is, do you think the black community is going to be harmed by Trump's agenda?
By Trump's agenda, you said?
Yes, by Trump's agenda.
Okay. Thanks for your call, bro.
That's a great question. I think that time will tell. Right now, he's not able to move an agenda because he's focused on the gossip columns and alternative news and alternative facts. So he's not been able to move much. One of the things that we just saw that would have been harmful to us is their version of the Affordable Care Act of Obamacare that they're, of course, calling Trump Care. There's still not a new bill, but that bill fell apart. And the reason why it fell apart is because it wouldn't have just harmed black folks. It would have harmed everyone, particularly folks in poor and marginalized communities. So right now, the things that he's trying to move along are harmful. The tax reform piece that they've been talking about is something that would also hurt middle-class folks. It would decimate the middle class and also hurt poor folks. But it would make rich people richer.
Hello, who's this? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? What's your question for Angela Rye?
What's going on? Hey, my question is actually, when is Angela going to have, her own type of platform? I'm tired of going on CNN just to hear people try to vomit all over everything she's saying. You want to hear what she got to say, you know what I'm saying? I'm tired of hearing them with their nonsense. I want to hear Angela Yee. She got a beautiful mind.
Not Angela Yee.
Amazing thing.
That's Angela Rye, bro.
Not Angela Yee, Angela Rye. My bad, son. You see, I'm live. I'm, nervous.
Don't be nervous.
That's a good question.
I feel like Charlemagne paid you $5 to call in and say this.
No, I didn't.
We're going to find out later. This is Charlemagne's little cousin.
Nope.
So we're working on some things. Things are happening.
Yes. Okay. Podcast, TV show. Angela Rye's booming.
Hello, who's this?
Business is booming for Angela Rye.
Hello?
Thanks, Ike.
Hey, what's up? This voice from Kansas City, Missouri. What's good?
What's up, bro? What's your question for
KC.
Angela Rye?
I was just in Kansas City.
Oh, cool. Well, Miss Angela, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to ask you, do you think that President Trump will get impeached within his 4-year term?
I ask that
You gotta be tired of answering that question.
Envy asked that too. Yeah.
Every week I ask her.
It looks like we're getting closer. And the only thing I can tell you is in a perfect scenario, I would set it up this way. There was a special committee to investigate Benghazi. Mm-hmm. We should have the same thing in the House for Russia. And if we had the same thing in the House for Russia, there needs to be an even-keeled, just smart, common sense Republican who's chairing that committee with Maxine Waters as the ranking member, and we would get to the bottom of it. There's so much there. There are so many people in Trump's kind of space who have some type of tie, had some type of meeting, had some type of conversation with Russian leaders. And I think that the only way we're really going to get down to the bottom of it is if we have bold folks who are not afraid to ask the tough questions. And I think once we do, there'll probably be a lot of room for impeachment.
I'm ready for
I heard something about the FBI doesn't want Michael Flynn's testimony because they may have enough on him already.
I didn't hear that.
Maybe I read that on Twitter. That could be fake news.
But I don't.
Fake news, alternative facts.
But it might be real too. I didn't hear that. What we do know is that Michael Flynn suggested that he would testify for immunity. And I think that that's important because people are like, oh, that means he did something wrong. It doesn't always mean that. But given the fact that he did lie to the vice president about having conversations with Russia ahead of time before the sanctions were announced, that proves to be problematic. That's also why Donald Trump started pointing the finger at Susan Rice, trying to establish ground for this wiretap claim. Susan Rice, of course, was a national security advisor, just like Michael Flynn was. So I think he's trying to show that in that role, anybody could be compromised, and it's not. She also did not break the law.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, there's some challenges.
Not quite. Do you get a lot of support from women, or do you get hate from women?
What?
No, just the reason I ask. I look at Hillary Clinton and I noticed that a lot of women didn't support her. And I even look at a lot of the calls, and 90% of the men that called today, 90% of the people that called were men. I'm just wondering, do women support you as much?
I think I have a great amount of support from women. What's funny is for a long time, like you know how you could look at your Instagram and Facebook insights just to see the percentage. Yeah. So for a long time, it was very lopsided. Like they were mostly men, and it switched. I think actually after doing the Breakfast Club, there were way more women. And so I can honestly say from people from every background, like women, men, young people, old people, they've all been super supportive. You get haters, but it's fine. You can handle that.
But I think that the one thing about you that everybody likes is that you really are genuine. Like this is your passion. This is what you're always constantly talking about 24/7, 365. You want to uplift our people. You want the betterment of our people. I think a lot of people, man, they get in front of those cameras sometime and they get jaded. And they get in the sunken place, and you know their morals and their values start getting compromised.
Well, and that is the importance of having, you know, parents that have instilled good values in you, having good friends that'll tell you the truth. I think that's so important. You know, your circle of accountability, like, hey, you tripping, you being way too nice to Donald Trump or whatever. Or our folks are really struggling. Make sure you talk about this issue. When you brought up the girls who were kidnapped or taken from their families or gone missing, there were a number of people on my Twitter who were just like, hey, I haven't heard you say anything about this. And so I did. Like, those are the types of things that matter. I think that circle of accountability, even if you don't really know someone, is important. Right. And you respond to it.
That's what we need to get Van Jones up here because we want to hit him with the flash one time.
Oh my God.
We feel like Van could be in the sunken place.
Van is all right. Van is believing in the love army.
That's the second or third time you'd have mentioned
love
this,
his way
I like
through
Van.
that.
I'm just wondering where he's going with this whole thing.
Well, maybe he's got a plan. Let's see. But I'll tell him you want him on the show. I don't know if he's gonna come on if you try to flash him with the camera.
I heard he's about to do a Pepsi commercial. That's what I really heard.
You shouldn't stop playing. No, he's not. No,
I'm trying to
he's
stop
not.
him from making that
He's
mistake.
not gonna be on a Pepsi commercial.
Well, we appreciate you joining us as
Thank you.
always.
Is that all we need to know? We up on everything?
I guess. I don't know. What else? Okay, there's Neil Gorsuch is the Supreme Court nominee, Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee. There's a lot of pushback from Democrats saying, hey, this guy should not get a Supreme Court nominee. There's a potential Russia collusion issue happening. As in response to that, the Republican leadership in the Senate said, don't worry about it. We normally have this rule where 60 votes are required for a Supreme Court nominee. We're not going to do that. We'll just go ahead and vote, get rid of that option, which is called the nuclear option. Now he only needs a simple majority. So he has 53 votes. He's been voted out of the Judiciary Committee. That's a problem because this guy's been deemed as a plagiarizer, very, very conservative, to the right of Justice Scalia, for those folks who know who that is. But he's expected to have a Senate floor vote tomorrow. We talked about Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump. We've talked a little bit about Russia, but Russia's really, really deep. And we talked about Devin Nunes, who's the House Intelligence Committee chairman, stepping aside from the Russia.
Oh, Steve Bannon getting removed from national security.
Yeah. I can actually have that written down. I forgot. So Chief Strategist Steve Bannon was removed from the National Security Council. Some people would say, why should I care about that? He wrote himself into the executive action, putting himself on there. It was unprecedented. Nothing like that ever happened before. I think this signals something bigger, which is Steve Bannon may be losing influence in the White House because the healthcare thing was a failure. They were trying to point fingers between him and like Reince Priebus, who used to chair the Republican National Committee, who's now the chief of staff there. They've been trying to point fingers and figure out who's really to blame, and I think that that's a sign that maybe they're blaming him.
And why has Jeff Sessions gotten so quiet?
Jeff Sessions is up to no good. He has to be. He has to be. Part of it could be, again, we've been talking about Russia all morning. Jeff Sessions also lied under oath during his nomination hearing about his involvement with Russia. So given what happened with Michael Flynn saying, I'm requesting immunity, maybe there's some more there with Jeff Sessions.
Oh, I guess we'll find out more later, huh?
Da-da-da.
We'll call you when we need you because we definitely don't know what's going on. So we always need to call you and ask you.
So I forgot to also tell you all about the tax march.
The tax march.
The
We ain't
tax
got to pay
march.
taxes? I'm in that march right now.
That's
Where
what
are we
that's
going to
for,
go? Huh?
That's what that is?
I don't know.
No, it's not, but that's all right. But it's kind of close. So the tax march is taking place on April 15th in Washington, D.C. It's for progressives and Democrats, independents to come together to tell Donald Trump to release his tax returns. So you're kind of close. He's kind of not paying, at least not his
Why is that
rate.
such a big deal?
Because what people are concerned about is that it may create a narrative, right? It may show that there is some actual involvement with Russia from a financial standpoint, which makes a lot of sense given all of the meetings they've had. Even his son-in-law, Jared Kushner's had meetings with Russia. And so that's why. And it's one of the places where we win. It shows that he's not transparent. This was someone who was supposed to be going into D.C. to drain the swamp, but you won't even release your basic tax returns, right? We know that they leaked some earlier this year from 2005. Right. Like, where are your tax returns for 12 years, sir?
Yeah, that's the one Rachel Maddow put out, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So that's the real challenge. But Maxine Waters, your favorite, is going to be involved in that march. There are some senators who are also participating. I think it's going to be a big deal.
Next time you come, can you bring Queen Maxine?
Yes, I can do that. I can work on that.
We'd love to have Maxine Waters up here.
Absolutely.
She wants to come on.
Really?
Yeah.
When is she in New York?
I don't know.
I know she got a boo in Harlem somewhere.
No, she does
Well,
not.
she got a boo in Harlem.
Ambassador Williams, he didn't mean that.
Oh,
no,
my bad.
she does not.
Oh,
I was thinking more like,
she's
Oh, my
married.
bad, Mr.
I
Williams.
was thinking more like Brooklyn, not
Ambassador
Harlem,
to
no.
you.
Nah, Maxine would definitely have a man in Harlem.
Yeah, Harlem.
She does not
Absolutely.
have a man in Harlem. She's not
joking.
going to come on. Yeah, she going to cuss you out. I
No,
hope
I'm
she
sorry,
cuss you
Maxine.
out.
No, I'm saying if she was single, she would have a man in Harlem.
Harlem.
Good night.
Harlem, man.
Over Queens?
What's blacking in Harlem in New York? Exactly.
Harlem
Brooklyn
is getting
kinda black,
gentrified
bro.
a little bit,
but
though.
no, Harlem black. The Apollo's in Harlem.
Yeah, you're right.
Come on now.
Yeah,
White people go to the Apollo now.
That is true.
That's true.
Anyway.
They don't even got a log no more.
That really is it. I forgot to talk about the tax march, but that's it.
Got
Okay.
you.
You said they ain't got a log anymore?
No, Apollo got a bush of kale that you got to
Kale,
rub
you
in for
rub the
good
kale.
luck.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, it's the Breakfast Club. It's Miss Angela Rye.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in